So for those that don't know who I am, my name is James. I'm the founder of Rupert, your 24/7 social media assistant. And we're on a mission. It's a very simple mission. We are trying to help brands extract more value from the comment section. Unfortunately, this is a widespread issue. It's not just the big entities that have this problem. It's also the smaller businesses and brands that are trying to use social for acquisition. And in my past life of running a lot of paid social, saw this as a real issue. So I'm here to, and with the help of Rupert, to help you extract more value. Don't miss out on these sales opportunities. And actually what we're going to be discussing today is actually safeguarding your brand online. So today we're going to be discussing preventing brand damage on social, strategies to quickly address and neutralize negative comments, which unfortunately we know as a what's the word I'm looking for? As a brand on social media, a byproduct of running social is commentary, and you're going to get some comments. And unfortunately, the nature of the beast is you're going to get some negative ones. So we're going to discuss actually some strategies on how to deal with that. And actually, there's 3 tips you can take away and implement, as I do every single week on a Wednesday. So I like to start every week with a stat. And a lot of these stats people aren't aware of. And this one is 60% of people who moan about something on social media want the company to get back to them within an hour. Now, getting back to someone within an hour is pretty cheeky because, especially out of hours, no one's going to be online dealing with these comments. So when this study was completed by Gartner, we actually did a follow-up to this, and most consumers who were commenting on a brand social would expect a response within the first day or the first 24 hours. We're actually about to run a study with Warwick University actually to put a little bit more meat on the bones on this particular stat, as well as the well-being of social media managers. But that is something that I'll discuss in a future live. But again, just be aware that actually a lot of people now, because of the nature of society, and we expect speed, if we order something from Amazon, we expect it tomorrow, first thing. Again, unfortunately, we as human beings now just expect that, and that's still the case here when it comes to social media. So just be aware of that, especially if it's a complaint. So I like to find some examples of brands that on my feed, whether it be Facebook or Instagram, where I've seen a brand running paid social specifically, and they've got a lot of commentary and they've missed some comments. And again, they're not missing comments because they don't want to. They're missing comments typically because of resource, and actually they potentially don't have the tools in place. So this one was Fixer AI, and you'll see here they've had 43 comments. Not one of these comments had been responded to, and these were just a few negative ones. And again, in terms of brand damage, what we don't know here is that we don't know how many people this has influenced. And again, this is just one of 3 examples I'm going to give you today of brands who have just neglected their comment section. Again, either they've not been notified by the platforms, or it's just been missed it's been missed due to resource. But again, you'll see here these guys spending a lot of money on social. They're a SaaS business, very similar to Rupert. Obviously, very different products entirely. But again, they're running paid social. They're using social for acquisition. Yet they're leaving these comments neglected. And actually, the middle one from Kevin, that's been liked 8 times by other people, and that was 5 weeks ago. And I have actually updated this deck as of this morning. So that was as of this morning, which was really, really poor. So strategies to quickly address and neutralize negative comments. So I always put these into 3 categories. And the first one is take the conversation offline. Now, there's sort of 2 angles to this. When it's possible, I would address the issue online. So if it's a small customer service issue, I would address it online, because you're going to be seen to deal with the issue for that particular consumer, which is great. But also people that are potentially sitting on the fence will also see that you've responded in a quick, concise way, which has helped them fix that particular issue. But where you can do, where it's something that's really escalating, someone's really having a big moan, whether it be, for example, you see a lot of this in the travel sector or hotels. Again, that's another one that I see it very often. They've gone absolutely ballistic. They've had a really bad experience because obviously a lot of money is involved when people are going on holiday, and they go ape. So my recommendation from those ones is, look, respond positively on the comment, but then take it offline and deal with that offline, because what you don't want to do is air your dirty laundry for everyone to see. The second one is do not turn off your comments. I see this so often for brands, and I'm trying to fathom as to why they do it. I know in a way why they do it, because obviously they don't want comments to deal with. But the problem is, two things are going to happen. You look so untrustworthy, and I've done it myself. I've, on many of these lives discussed how I personally do not buy from a brand if the comments are turned off, not because of the line of work I'm in. I just don't believe that they're trustworthy enough. The second one is it actually affects performance. So especially if you're running paid ads, if you turn the comments off, your CPMs will increase. So there's two reasons for that. And the third one is, if I can talk today, provide a solution. Be clear and honest about how you plan to address whatever issue someone's coming to you with. Again, this seems very simple, but it might be offer a refund, a replacement, an explanation as to why they've had that bad experience. But actually what you want to be showing is that you're taking those tangible steps to resolve the problem. And actually what they're going to do is hopefully help rebuild trust with that particular consumer or that customer, and also people that are reading it as well. Another couple of examples of brands where they have either not responded to a comment and left it neglected. So again, you'll see on the left one here, they've left that comment, which again, that was a few days ago. Is it affecting their performance? I don't know. Is it influencing people not to use this platform? Potentially, because it's someone actually really saying that you guys can't spell, yet you're promoting yourselves. And again, that's been laughed at twice. So again, we don't know how many people that's influenced. But on the right-hand side, Spoogle, I always get those wrong. They've had 191 comments on this particular ad. Now, that is a lot of comments to come back to, 190 comments. Think about how long it would take you to address every single one of those. It might be someone who's interested, it might be some complaints in there, it might be some spam, some trolling. You'll have a total mixture over that volume of comments. But how do you deal with that? And again, this is why when we go into the top 3 tips in a second, using automation, using tools like Rupert, obviously there are other tools out there, or having a way of dealing with them, an internal process, is really going to help you, because I can guarantee you now, these guys have got a lot of opportunity in there and they're being wasted. I can absolutely guarantee it, because I see it so often. So again, another couple of examples of brands that unfortunately are missing a trick. And again, it's not because these are bad brands, it's just down to resource. So preventing brand damage on social. So again, I'm going to give you now 3 tips that you can take away and implement today. So tip number 1 is prepare an internal channel. So if you're using something like Slack or maybe Google Chat, my recommendation would be to create a channel within there. And again, you can actually use things like Zendesk to do support tickets. But I would make sure that anything that needs to be escalated, I would put into that particular channel, and I would then deal with that as in a ticketing system. And I'd have a number of people within the business to deal with that. It might be social, it might be customer service, sales might potentially get involved as well if it's one of their customers and it's high value. So again, I would prepare that internal channel just so you can track the issues and actually just track comments, because this is one of the other issues, is that although it's amazing we get all this engagement, a lot of the time trying to find them is a problem. So I would, if you can set up that internal channel and make sure that there's not just one person doing that, there's a number of people in the business, because obviously it shares the load, which is going to make you get back to people quicker, but also make your customers happier, which is what we all want. The third one, we're not that close. The second one is use moderation tools. So you've got things like Rupert, which will quarantine anything negative or trolling or spam automatically for them when you are online, to go and review that quarantine, to comment, and then either unquarantine it so everyone can see it, or actually if it's racism or something that's really nasty, you can just leave it hidden. It's totally up to you. Now, Facebook and Instagram, a lot of these platforms do allow you to put certain keywords in the back end of your settings of your account. So a lot of people do a lot of swearing, racism type stuff. The problem with that is, although that's great and it's solving a little bit the issue, I'd say 10%, there's no context to it. So for example, you could put a monkey emoji in. Well, not every brand wants to hide a comment with a monkey emoji in. In some terms, that's clearly, very, very, very poor, but actually in some it's in context. So I would recommend is obviously use that filter within the platforms, but actually if you want something that's a little bit more well, just better, really, just being quite candid. Again, there are moderation tools out there like Rupert, where it will look at the context, it'll look at the actual post, understand the post, then understand what the comment is. So it's not just quarantining anything that has a swear word in, as an example, because there are some brands out there that actually really want people to swear in their comments, not because they're a bad brand, that's their tone of voice. You've got people in the trade, I know on the tools, that the guys that use Rupert, again, they're a really good example of a lot of banter within these groups and their pages. They don't want to suppress those types of comments because it's contextually correct. So again, they do allow you to do that, but again, just caution is that you don't want everything to be quarantined and actually deleted, because Facebook will then flag it. And the third one is follow up on each comment. So once you've found a solution for someone that's had a really bad experience, my recommendation to try and follow up with a direct message if you can, or actually thanking the customer for their patience, because obviously we can't really get back to them straight away. But all that do is it's confirming that the issue has been resolved for you and also the customer. But again, if you're doing this outside of DMs and you're doing it within that ad or that post, again, that's going to be seen by a lot more people. So it might be you do it in a week's time. Hey, how are you getting on? Was it all okay? And all that's doing is breeding more engagement. And again, something I harp on about here a lot, which is the more you engage with people, the better for you and your account, because the platforms, all they want is people coming back onto their particular social platform. They don't want them to go to TikTok if they're Facebook and YouTube if they're Twitter. It's a really simple concept. So if you're bringing people back into the platform, you're going to get a cheaper CPM from a paid perspective, and from an organic perspective, you're going to get something which I call free reach. And I know for people that sort of watch these every week, I harp on about that a lot, but it makes such a difference. And actually, to give you an example, a live example, I've got a TikTok channel where one of our podcasts go out to, and one of our TikToks yesterday, or two this week, one had loads of comments which we didn't engage with. One had loads of comments we did engage with. The one we didn't engage with stagnated about 8,000 views. My other one, where we were engaging with people, hit 55,000, and that just shows what the platforms are doing. And again, I've got a live example of that, and actually I might bring that in a future live, actually, because again, we did it to test, and again, it just shows exactly that's the point. So they're free tips. Again, you can go and action those today for free. But again, in terms of the moderation tools, there are tools out there. And Rupert, if you'd like to try Rupert, there's 30 days for free, and it'd be really interesting to see, actually, from a moderation and safeguarding perspective, how many comments actually Rupert would quarantine for you. Another example of a brand here, so Feedbird, these guys get a lot of commentary on their ads, and again, you'll see here is the a load of comments, some good, I'm interested, people tagging in their friends, but then you've also got scam, know where you're getting original content from a native speaker for that. Again, just quite negative. Is this any language? That's an opportunity. I'm still thinking on the fence. Again, that's someone actually telling them they're on the fence, which is great. Do you have any case studies for candle brands? Again, these are really good comments. Some negative, which obviously something like Rupert could absolutely deal with instantly, straight away. But also, these social media platforms should be notifying this user and say, hey, you've got all these opportunities here, jump on them. So again, another feature of Rupert that I'm very passionate about, because again, these guys spend a lot of money on social, like a lot of us are, yet we're missing out on opportunities. So, which is what we're here on social to do, which is acquisition. We're trying to acquire new customers. So it's absolutely crazy that these are being missed out on. So they're free examples and free tips to take away. As always, I open up the floor now to any questions. If anyone is even here, to be fair, because I don't know if anyone is, because you might be on the old link, so I'm not too sure. If anyone does have any questions, type away while I discuss next week, because obviously I do these every single week. So if you do have a question, type in, even if it's just hi, because I don't get many questions on these. So next week, again, I run these every Wednesday, 11 o'clock, either here in the office or in my home office. And they're normally between 10 and 15 minutes. And it's just to help social media managers and brands extract more value from their comments. It's really, really that simple. Next week, we're discussing the role of automation in scaling your socials, automating processes to save time, reduce costs and enhance productivity, which again, because resource, unfortunately is so thin nowadays, and a lot of brands, we need automation to help us, especially if we're trying to scale our ads or you're trying to scale your organic. And obviously when you're scaling, what's going to happen is you're going to get more engagement and commentary. So we'll discuss that next week. But for those that are here, if anyone is here, thank you all for listening again. And if anyone does have any questions, drop me a DM and I will endeavor to get back to you as soon as possible. But everyone, have a great rest of the week, and I will see you next week at 11 o'clock. Take care.